Welcome back to the Social Psychology series. Today's video focuses on the Robbers Cave experiment. Have you ever read Lord of the Flies? Many people encounter it in middle and high school. Even if you only skimmed the novel, you may recall the plot. A group of boys finds themselves stuck on a desolate island with no adult supervision. As they attempt to build some sort of community, they turn on each other in desperation, and things get violent. Now, Lord of the Flies is a standard of young adult fiction, noted for reflecting society and warning that anyone can become violent if they are desperate for insufficient resources. It was published in 1954, a year before psychologist Muzafer Sherif was awarded $38,000 from the Rockefellers to conduct an intriguing research experiment. Hey everyone, it's Knowle, your gateway to understanding human behavior and emotions. Join us for fascinating insights. Hit subscribe for a part of our journey through the exciting field of psychology. Sherif was weary of working with lab rats and wanted to try something different, an experiment inspired by Lord of the Flies. This experiment, long celebrated for its insights into group conflict theory, is today more infamous than famous. Regardless of its reputation, it is nevertheless one of the most famous social psychology experiments of the 20th century. Sherif wanted to demonstrate how easily groups may turn against each other when competing for scarce resources. He also wanted to show how these parties might put aside their differences to combat a shared adversary. He conducted the experiment at his summer camp since observing these group dynamics with lab rats or canines was not possible. The 22 youngsters at Robbers Cave State Park were not aware that their summer camp experience was part of a wider social experiment. They had no idea how big the camp was until the second day. On the first day, researchers acting as counselors divided into two groups, the Eagles and the Rattlers. After bonding with their own groups, the boys were introduced to the other group. Over the next few days, the researchers organized events like baseball games and tug of war. Winners earned awards, while losers received none. Additional tensions ensued. For example, one group was given access to food while the others were instructed to wait. The lads acquired an us versus them mentality, as discussed in my videos on in-group and out-group bias. Initially, they traded threats and had verbal disagreements, which evolved into physical violence. One party destroyed the other's flag, while the other responded by raiding their cabin and seizing belongings. During this time, questionnaires revealed the boys' negative attitudes and preconceptions toward the boys in the opposing group, verifying the first element of Sherif's argument. Sherif, on the other hand, was not finished. The Robbers Cave experiment had entered its final phase of friction reduction. All 22 lads were assigned chores that benefited the entire group. To aid this, the researchers devised a challenge. A truck transporting food became stuck, and the boys had to work together to remove it. Another problem was constructing an assembly line to remove pebbles that were preventing access to the camp's water tower. Despite early antagonism, the guys worked together to achieve goals that benefited the entire group. The shift from conflict to shared interests is intriguing. I recall a similar situation when my parents divorced, dealing with my sister's seizures. Despite early disagreements, they banded together to support my sister. The Robbers Cave experiment served as significant evidence for Donald Campbell's realistic conflict theory, which he introduced a few years later. This idea broadened our understanding of group conflict beyond fundamental necessities like sex and food, to include larger ambitions and a wider variety of resources. According to realistic conflict theory, group conflict becomes more intense when groups fight for finite resources such as food, respect, power, or recognition. Let's move on to objections to the Robbers Cave experiment. Its problematic ethics have made it one of the most well-known but divisive experiments. The goal of an experiment is to test a theory. If the data confirm the hypothesis, the experiment was successful. Otherwise, the problem was with the hypothesis rather than the experiment itself. Given these findings, psychologists have avoided using the Robbers Cave experiment as an example in textbooks and presentations. While the initial experiment did not go as anticipated, Sherif repeated it and obtained findings that supported his beliefs. Despite ethical difficulties, there is still evidence to support realistic conflict theory, particularly in relation to racial tensions and immigration policies. A report on opposition to school busing and integration, published in 1983, found that group conflict reasons, in addition to racism, were important. Similar arguments exist today, such as allegations that immigrants are taking jobs. The Robbers Cave experiment demonstrates that experiments should not be undertaken only to confirm a hypothesis. It emphasizes the importance of the us versus them concept. As we conclude, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you found value in this video and learned something new, and I look forward to seeing you in our future videos. I would deeply value it if you could like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support will help us to create more valuable content. What are the key takeaways from this video that you can share in the comment section?